Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Raj Giri. Tonight we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw for May 8th, 2017. Mr. Matt Morgan not feeling so hot, so he'll be skipping this week, but back with us next week to discuss Monday Night Raw. Raj, we got our technical difficulties ironed out. And now taking it back to where we started, what did you think of tonight's Monday Night Raw?
It was long. Long and uninteresting, but it forwarded some storylines. I just don't know if they're the ones that fans are really that interested in. I think Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor is probably the freshest thing that they've gotten with this superstar shakeup, and they didn't really do anything with them tonight to further their feud. So I thought it was dull at best. I don't know if I'd go say it was bad, but it just was uninteresting.
Well, let me put it this way, because I thought about how to sort of qualify this statement. Now, tonight's Raw wouldn't get me to stop watching weekly programming. However,
Right.
That being said, it probably would get me to feel that I don't have to watch it live. And if not for doing this podcast, I would feel like, you know what? Maybe when they're in the cool down period, maybe I can fast forward, DVR, through part of the episode, not have to sit there just glued to the TV for 3 hours. To me, that's what it felt like. It didn't meet that bar, that I felt like I needed to know what happened as it happened.
That's a dangerous slope when you think about it. A lot of times, the shows that you used to feel like you had to watch live or you had to watch the night of, and then after a while you're like, oh, I could wait a day or two. And then you're like, oh, I could skip this week. And that's, how you turn away from a lot of shows. But yeah, Absolutely. this one I didn't feel like there was nothing keeping me hooked in, and the stuff that was the best stuff on the show was it just seemed like it should have been at the end. If you're doing a big entry angle for Braun, put that at the end. That's been the most pushed feud.
And what I'll say is, hey, this is what happens when your champion is a part-timer who's just not there. That all we've got is the IC title, the tag team title, and the women's title. There's that void of having that big story, because I feel like the Miz versus Dean, that's great for a B storyline, but there was no A storyline.
That should have been like in the first hour.
Yeah, there was no A
storyline. You mean the Miz versus you mean the Dean versus Bray Wyatt?
Well, I just mean what they're setting up right now. This idea that it's about the Miz and Dean for next week. That this is the IC title picture, which is in essence the main event for the time being, with Brock not being around. So, so we started with co-GMs tonight. This idea that Kurt Angle didn't go to London, Stephanie didn't go to London, Creative might not have bothered to go to London.
Yes, though Stephanie was there.
Oh, she was. That was interesting. So the idea was Angle made Dean GM. The Miz was made co-GM by Stephanie McMahon. And that right there actually, to me, sounded pretty ripe for an episode. Like, you could have done a good through line. There could have been some wacky matches. There could have been some more infighting, but instead we got kind of some standard stuff happening tonight. Even the rehash of that beginning promo, having Kalisto interrupt Braun and set up a match for them later in the night. We just saw them in that dumpster match.
Yeah.
A couple weeks
ago. Well, I did feel like Braun did need to get a win. He doesn't need that win back, but Kalisto does have a win over Braun Strowman, So
he just kind of forgot about Kalisto. My wife went out to get the mail and came back, and I explained how Roman interfered. She's like, what about Kalisto? And I'm like, they really didn't acknowledge that. Just Kalisto just kind of...
He was there and back and gone. But was that new entrance music, or did he have that last time?
That was new to me. He's been rocking that gear a couple weeks now, but that entrance music was strange. Sounded like a mix of Neville's old music and then with the Lucha remix. It just didn't really fit his new darker look.
Yeah, I think Kalisto should be in that Cruiserweight division. I think he'd fit in a lot more. But yeah, Braun is going to be out for, I guess, was it Pro Wrestling Sheet saying 4 to 8 weeks? So, yeah, they needed to do the entry angle, even though I guess Braun is he's still working the rest of the tour, the European tour.
Oh, wow. I like the idea, though, the one arm thing, that beat him with my arm tied behind my back. I thought that was Interesting. But so we went to Finn versus The Miz, and this might be a storyline going forward once they get done with Dean and The Miz next week. What'd you think tonight, aside from, as you said earlier, that The Miz looks so much bigger than Finn?
I thought the match was fine.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is the first. Well, I mean, they worked together in the main event last week, but this was their first one-on-one match, because I don't think I'm forgetting if they've been working singles matches on the tour. But I thought it was a fine opener. I thought it got stupid when the Miz disqualified Finn and Dean changed it to keep going. Because why can't the Miz just go right back and say no? It's already over. If they have equal power, one shouldn't be able to outweigh the other. So that part I thought was dumb. Like what you were saying with the whole co-GM thing. There's a lot of ways they could go. There's a lot of things they could do, and they didn't really do too much.
Yeah, that could have at least been some solid comedy and made for an off the wall show. As opposed to this, which was just kind of middling at best. I thought it was interesting, with the DQ, I thought they were going that route because you had the Miz win the triple threat last week. It would be kind of weird to have Finn win clean, but then when they restarted it, I don't know. I mean, I think it makes the Miz look like if this is a storyline going forward, I don't know what stakes there are really with it.
Well, Finn, it's clear they're pushing Bray right now. And, Finn is feuding with him. So that is higher up on the card. So gotcha. I think it makes sense to get, again, it's 50-50 booking. Miz pinned Balor last week. Balor gets his win back this week. But I think it was important to give him that win. Yeah.
So we went from that backstage, Alexa and Nia Jax talking about Nia wants a title shot.
Alexa looked like she was 12 years old here.
Yeah, you can't put the two of them next.
I don't know if they had like Nia standing on a box or something, but she looked just like her mom. Oh, it's crazy.
I gotta say though, so last week I was felt forewarned about Raw with everyone bagging on last week, the episode I missed when I went to the house show. But that opening segment last week was easily the high point with Alexa and even her exchange with Nia and with Mickey and all of that. So this week I like that they kept that through line going. But yeah, I don't know how you do Nia versus Alexa with that. I mean, that's tough to take serious because of their size difference.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
It seems like it might be happening. But we did have Alexa versus Mickie James. Now Alexa came out with Nia in our corner. Mickie came out with Bayley. So I was going to ask Matt about this tonight. So I was going to say, how would you feel if you're Mickie and you're out there doing this and they spend the first 3 minutes of the match chanting for the person that accompanies you to the ring, and Bayley? Like, that's got to be a weird dynamic.
Yeah, but Bayley is the star right now. So.
Yeah. So what did you think of the match though between Alexa and Mickie?
I didn't really do much for me. You?
No, I mean, it was okay. I like that Mickie got some chance towards the end. I felt like it picked up steam and then it was over with Alexa winning. So I thought the stuff with Nia was okay. Just what's the storyline? Where are they going with it? What's the momentum?
I think it's just too bad that they've had Mickie fall so quick. She's someone that should be in that top tier. But they can, just start beating her right off the bat as soon as she came back. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I like later in the night they did something a little different with the women's scene. Just I'm looking at this.
But that match wasn't that. They did something different, but the match wasn't that good. Yeah, it was sloppy.
Okay, so backstage they were making matches. Okay, then. Sorry, I'm just going through the breakdown here of the show. Oh, so let's talk about what happened backstage with Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins. Are you excited to see this continuing?
I was looking forward to that tonight. I was curious which way they were going to go with it. There's something lacking with Seth Rollins, and we've talked about this before. I just think as a babyface, there's just something missing that really gets you into this feud. I feel like it should be a bigger deal than it feels like it is.
Yeah.
And there's just something missing there.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting backstage. Joe was doing that thing where he started just, shouting again, and then the attack backstage, and it was like, okay, you're going to set the match for later tonight. But I don't know. I mean, what's it even about at this point? Samoa Joe's still trying to avenge what happened with Stephanie. Seth is just mad that Samoa Joe attacked him in the past.
I think so. I think that's about it.
They're still really amped about it.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they should be so heated that Rollins needed to attack him backstage, and like they need something to reignite this. I think because you had Rollins beat Samoa Joe clean already. Now I feel like you need to do something to kind of reset the feud a little and get it back to interesting.
Yeah, like I'm just not feeling the stakes of it as much. Okay, so Braun Strowman versus Kalisto happened, and Kalisto, we've talked about, has the new music, came out, did the entrance in his new gear. Braun came out, and it seemed like just around the time it maybe got going a little bit, Roman interrupted, and it devolved into that.
Yeah, but I thought it was a good way to write him off, and get Roman some steam back. And I almost felt like this should have been the last thing on the show.
Yeah. Although I think that would have been maybe tipping their hand too much. I mean, if we'd seen that, guys, tonight the main event is Kalisto versus Braun
Strowman. Right, yeah, that's true.
Like, it wasn't a huge surprise tonight, but I don't know. God, it's weird too. Roman is literally booed all over the world. They need to maybe hit the Pacific territories or something just to see. There's got to be somewhere, right, where he gets some sort of big pop.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I don't know. It was very strange.
That's a broken record, but
I know
they should turn him heel.
If that turned out, if like America Samoa, like just if they loved Roman Reigns there, Vince would add that to the root. Like they'd be hitting America Samoa, every 3 months just to get that reaction on TV.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Goldust and R-Truth backstage really building up this storyline for Tag Team Turmoil. Enzo and Cass versus Cesaro and Sheamus versus Heath Slater and Rhino versus Goldust and R-Truth versus Gallows and Anderson. Okay, so long story short, meet the new number one contenders, same as the old number one contenders. That is strange storytelling, right? That they built up even a little bit this idea that Golden Truth was going to have something going on, and they do it tonight, and it's like, surprise, it's Cesaro and Sheamus again.
In a way, I liked it because it did seem very predictable that Goldust and R-Truth were going to win.
Yeah.
And instead, they made Sheamus and Cesaro look really dominant. I mean, they look tough, but again, like what you just said, they've just been beaten so many times already. Beaten at the last pay-per-view, then they lost their singles matches to Matt and Jeff. It just seemed like, again, like by the end, by having Cesaro and Sheamus win dominantly as opposed to someone new, it just felt like it's the same show we've been watching.
Yeah. And that's gotten really repetitive. I mean, I just feel like it was repetitive when it was Cesaro and Sheamus versus Gallows and Anderson, and now with the Hardys. I mean, do you think part of this is just because they still don't know what they're doing with the Hardys right now?
Yeah, and with Goldust and R-Truth, whenever they say that stuff like, hey, maybe we could turn back the clock too, it makes the Hardys seem old. And like a lot of those lines they drop in commentary just makes them seem like old guys. Jeff looks young. He doesn't look like a grizzled veteran. Matt, he's a little more weathered, but they seem old coming out to that music, especially Matt and with the Team Extreme stuff, but they don't look older than the rest of the roster. And I hope that this isn't where they keep taking them. Like there's this nostalgia act that's back, that's doing well.
I mean, it is interesting to note now. I mean, Goldust is, I don't want to say the senior member, but I mean, he's the oldest guy on the roster. It seems that.
Is he older than Mark Henry or Kane?
Well, Kane's out running for mayor.
No.
Mark Henry is.
He's here and there.
Sparingly. Jericho's gone. Undertaker's gone. Mark Henry was only born in 1971.
And what about Goldust?
Goldust, 1969.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Goldust, like, don't want to
48.
Yeah, but I mean, he's the longest running vet there. I don't know. I think with him and R-Truth, they could do a nice. If there's going to be one more run.
Yeah, they could have done something, but again, if you're building them to the titles, I'd rather see them pick up some wins, and then they start getting in that title picture. You know, as opposed to just throw them in right away. But who would have thought like a month later that the Hardys would be not stale is not the word because they're over, but just a couple of faces in the crowd. When you think about that pop that they got at WrestleMania last month, and where they are now.
Especially because when someone makes a return, that's the chance, right? Then you have all this opportunity, but they returned and just immediately coasted.
Well, I don't think it's their fault.
No, it's not theirs.
Right. I mean, but creatively, they're just back to it being another tag team, which is, you know, at the end of their last WWE runs, you know, Jeff Hardy was in the WWE title picture, and Matt wasn't doing so well, but Jeff was. So hopefully this is just a stop. You know, this is just part of something bigger, but you know, I don't know.
I mean, I thought the match was good. It made Cesaro and Sheamus look good, but from a story point of view, I don't know. I just want to see something different.
Yeah, I thought in building Cesaro and Sheamus, it was good, but at the same time, like we mentioned, they've been beaten all the other weeks. So,
well, and before this, they were beaten. I mean, they were in the title picture with Gallows and Anderson. I mean, they did win the belts at a certain point, but they've been in this main event scene now for, I mean, all of 2017. It feels like.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like they're. I think they're really good in the ring. I mean, obviously Cesaro. But it's not like when they come out, the momentum changes or anything.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. I think that the tag team division is somewhat diverse right now. They could do some more interesting things with it, but I don't know why they're sticking with this.
They really killed Heath Slater and Rhino here.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, they've been kind of dead men walking pretty much since they won the belts.
Yeah, well, yeah, since they lost the belts.
Well, even after they won, it felt like, oh, it's just a matter of time now.
Yeah,
you know, creatively.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And Enzo's shtick didn't work for me tonight.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. Okay, so here's my beef with Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins tonight. When you have a match this long, because this felt like a long match, and you know, I've made the comparison. Anytime Seth Rollins faces someone because of how they've built him, and with Samoa Joe, certainly it's like this Batman versus Superman style fight, right? Like they can't be over in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You have to really give it credence and development and really sell something. So when you have this long of a fight and then you just have it end in a DQ, like I'm pissed off as an audience member. I feel like,
yeah, because it's like they just wasted your time.
Yeah, it's like ending a great debate with, well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree. You know, it's kind of like, no, that's not the point of a debate.
Right. You know? Well, it's to build the feud, but then to get to that next step in the feud, you took 20 minutes of airtime, you know, or 25 minutes or whatever that was. Seth fell flat, you know, but I thought the match was good. But again, when you have a good match with that kind of finish, by the end, you're like, oh, geez. Thanks.
And I mean, what is it? They just can't give Rollins another win, but I mean, if they were going to go 50-50, at least if Joe won, maybe Seth would have more of a reason to continue this feud. But
I mean,
DQ, he did Coquina clutch him, and after.
What's Extreme Rules? 4 weeks?
Yeah.
4 or 5. So they could have had Joe get a win here, and then that leads to a gimmick match at the pay-per-view, but I don't know. It was a way to. This still should have been the main event, I thought.
Yeah.
Even though you had that crappy ending.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about something on a kinder note. We've got great sponsorship tonight. Something we're promoting. Bill Goldberg. Goldberg is stepping into the Sugar Factory in Las Vegas in the ring for a special meet and greet on May 20th from 2 to 5 p.m. Now, they've got a cool opportunity with this. If you go and check it out, for $75, fans will have the opportunity for a VIP experience to take selfies with Goldberg, get an autographed picture, and try the Gold Burger, the monster hamburger named after none other than Bill Goldberg himself, accompanied by fries and an insane milkshake or beer. That's for $75. For $20, fans will have the chance for a selfie and a signed photo. Act fast. Make your reservations now by calling 702-685-0483 for the grand event, or check out sugarfactory.com wrestleingfactory.com for more information. Raj, this sounds really cool. So what else, what more do you know about this event?
I mean, pretty much what you said. I mean, it's Goldberg doesn't do too many events like that. So it's your chance to, he's coming off of just last month, in one of the main events of WrestleMania, and it's your chance to get to see him if you're in the Vegas area. So it'll be a cool opportunity.
Yeah, at the Sugar Factory. That's cool. I was just in Vegas. I wish I would have known about this before. Anything with sugar in the title, instantly has my attention. So that'll be cool. This podcast is also brought to you by DDPY. You've heard us talk about it. Speaking of Goldust, credits DDPY for getting him in what he calls the best shape of his life. Chris Jericho, you've seen the results DDP Yoga has given him. AJ Styles, Mick Foley. I mean, look how great he looks. But it's not just superstars. Regular folk, regular wrestling fans from all different walks of life have benefited greatly using DDPY. And for a limited time, we have a deal for you where you can get access to the DDP Yoga Now app for 25% off, or you can get the DDPY DVDs for 25% off, which includes 3 months of full access to the DDP Yoga Now app. Also got a deal where you can buy a max or combo pack at 25% off and get 50% off the second one. To take advantage of this deal, go to ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. That's ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. And yeah, you've heard us talk about it. You've seen the results. You got no excuse. We're already in May, people. May 2017. You want to look back at the end of the year and say you did something for yourself? Check out DDP Yoga today. And we thank DDPY for sponsoring the show.
Yeah. And you brought up Goldust. We just said 48 years old, and he looked great in the ring. So
absolutely. I mean, talk about a transformation. Look at how he looked when he was in Impact.
Right. Yeah.
As Black Rain. I mean, it's like a totally different person.
Yeah. Real quick, so a couple of people are bringing up the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. Do you hear Dean Ambrose at the beginning of the show? He dropped a reference like, I have a great idea for a pay-per-view name. So I wonder if they're going to make it that it's Ambrose's idea.
Maybe. At least, I mean, that kind of makes sense though, right? Because that's how they've written Dean. Now, I know a lot of people don't like what they've done with Dean's character and making him this funny comic relief guy. But for me, I feel like, look, I mean, the guy can go in the ring. There's no question about it. I just think he's legitimately funny. He legitimately can act. I mean, I don't know if you watched 12 Rounds 3 Lockdown or some of his stuff he did on Swerved, but I think he's one of the few WWE talents who actually could work in the entertainment business outside of wrestling.
Was it us that were we talking about this? Or I think maybe I was talking about it with Matt when we were talking about Ambrose. And another one. It feels weird to keep saying people have gotten stale, but I think it's maybe just the product has gotten stale and everyone associated is suffering as a result. But Dean has gotten, has been stale for a while, I feel like. And we were talking about how in the Shield promos, how Dean really stood out, when they would do those promos. Yeah. And I think he could just really benefit from a heel turn right now, or a change in character.
You know what's been missing from his earlier days and what he did on the indies is he doesn't really do promos with intensity anymore. It seems like now it's more in the style where when he was the champ, he sort of had, Mean Dean, he was doing that, and he would alternate between that and the sort of goofball shtick, but they haven't given him like pure intensity, which is what a lot of his earlier stuff had.
Yeah, it's all pretty much tongue in cheek. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And I think for main event level programs, you need that intensity and that believability that you really hate someone or something's really on the line.
Yeah. In fact, the last time we saw shades of that when he was on Stone Cold's podcast a year ago and he was doing sort of that mock promo against Stone Cold, it was like, oh, hey, this is the classic.
Yeah. Like he could do it.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
They're not giving him that. But watching Raw even last week, like, I like some of the bits. I like last week when he was doing the, back to you, Gene and Bobby in the booth. I think when they give him good material, it's good, but I definitely see where fans of his earlier work just aren't having it because what he's capable of.
Yeah. Some people are saying they should bring the Shield back. I mean, they all are on Raw, and that could be a hot summer storyline, especially with Braun out right now. That's
the only thing that I think could get Roman over at this point.
yeah, people would start cheering.
With the IWC? Oh my God.
I don't know if they'd be cheering him, but they probably wouldn't boo him as loud. But it would. But if you could that's the thing that sucks with Owens now on SmackDown, because you had that like little faction forming with Samoa Joe and Owens, and if you got Triple H or someone a third in there, it could have been something hot.
Yeah, but that's how they do it. I mean, that will win over the IWC for Roman.
Because right now, who would you do it with? You do it with, I guess, because Samoa Joe and The Miz, that doesn't really feel right, you know.
No.
So I don't know what three you would put that would make a multiple month program with the Shield.
Oh, you know what? You get Gallows and Anderson with Finn. You go, Shades of New Japan.
It seems too early for Finn, though.
Yeah,
to go that direction.
But that would be interesting, or something with Bray. I could see Bray. Look, we'll talk about this more in the main event, but Bray needs to. I think Bray needs a repackaging of some sort at this point, because it's. Did you see that compilation someone put together online? I saw it linked on Reddit, where it was like a supercut of Bray doing all his promos and then just getting buried at the end of the feud, like just losing in like the most embarrassing fashion. And I feel like they've got to change it up, man. It can't just be the same thing again, right?
You remember when they were turning him babyface a couple of years ago?
I feel like he works kind of as a face, right?
He should. I mean, he was turning babyface and then he got injured, and then those plans were scrapped, and they never went back to it.
Even when they put the belt on him after Elimination Chamber, I feel like they had an organic way to do that, because the fans were behind him. I think the fans were happy to see him win the title.
Yeah.
But
even here tonight, they seemed happy to see him. So
yeah, I think that's the thing. We all like Bray Wyatt. We just don't feel what he's doing.
I like him, but I have not liked any of his feuds in a while, and his promos. His delivery is good. If it's like the first time I'm hearing these promos, it's awesome. But when it's been kind of the same style of promo for years, and
it's been the same promo for years.
Yeah.
Go back, watch the early NXT. Did they finally add those to the network? I read they were going to do that.
Yeah, they're caught up to. They're pretty far in.
Yeah, so if you go back and watch like Bray's debut in 2012, I mean, his original Coming Soon stuff, I mean, he had same theme music, same language, Sister Abigail, Eater of Worlds, Everything You Know Is a Lie, yada, 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 from day one.
Yeah.
Remarkably consistent with the gimmick. But the problem is that it's also been remarkably consistent.
Yeah.
And not changing it up. Okay, so it was right about the point where I was saying, hey, are we not getting cruiserweights this week? That we got the cruiserweights. TJP versus Jack Gallagher, with Neville on commentary. What do you think of the heel TJ Perkins?
I think he's much better as a heel. I thought this match was good. It was fine. It was gross when he rolled him up and was using the tights, and he really got in there.
Yeah.
And then afterward, he's like, it almost looked like he's licking his fingers. So that part bothered me.
Yeah. Well, it's
but
full contact sport.
He didn't fully lick his fingers. He was just making he was saying he got 3, but he was, I don't know. Anyway, that part.
That's like some classic Gold Dust stuff, right? Like psychological warfare against your opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I guess TJP versus Neville is what they're going to, which I like that. I'm not sure if that's 205 live or they stretched that out. My guess is probably going to be 205 live.
Yeah, we'll see. So what's up with Aries currently?
What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we're seeing the picture now. I did full disclosure. I literally had Raw from last week on in the background, so I know kind of what happened last.
I mean, he's still there. TJP, Neville, and Aries are all in the picture. So
yeah, I'm telling you, man, got to get the belt on Aries. I feel like he's could really liven up that division a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, after that tonight we had Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. This was different.
Sloppy, matchup, but it was different.
Not the best match though.
Yeah,
it went by fast. So what do you think they're doing with the women's division? Give me sort of your prediction for where we're gonna go after this Alexa Bailey rematch.
I think you get it back on Bailey and go with Bailey and Sasha.
Yeah.
Have Sasha turn heel, and that's your SummerSlam match. But we'll have to see if Alexa's really over, then you can do it with Alexa and Sasha and build to that, towards SummerSlam. But that's if they can keep Sasha hot.
What did you think of Alexa's promo last week that opened the show?
I thought she was really good.
Yeah.
I think she's got that poise. That it's that thing it's hard to learn, but when you come off and you seem above the crowd and you just own the crowd, and she does that really well.
I mean, Alexa's becoming one of my favorite performers on either brand. Now, I think she's just gotten so good at what she does.
Yeah. No. In the ring, it's hit or miss.
Sure.
But outside, she's got all the tools.
But you just think about those awkward promos that even Bayley and Sasha have had, and it's just Alexa, I think, is just smokes everyone on the mic right now.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, at least all the women
in the women's division. Yeah.
So Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose tonight. Now, shocking, The Miz was on commentary and somehow got himself involved with the match.
Didn't they do this match? Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Was it? I feel like on SmackDown we saw this exact same scenario. Since these are all
Bray just beat Dean clean.
Maybe.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I knew what happened on the show before, so I was actually a little surprised because I thought they would do something to build towards Finn and Bray, because that's the feud. That's the one new feud that they got going right now, and they did absolutely nothing here for that.
And like we talked about, there's a lot they can do with that, with Finn and the Demon character, and with Bray. I mean, this actually makes more sense for Bray to go against Finn than just about anyone else that's left on the roster. Yeah,
I mean, my concern is that they're going to go the Randy Orton way and do all this Halloween hocus pocus stuff. And I really hope they don't do that. But I think you could come up with a compelling feud without having to make it, without all the over the top, corny, supernatural stuff.
I don't know. With Finn and the Demon, this will be Finn's first time back in the makeup.
Yeah, he hasn't been back yet.
Yeah. It's going to be hokey as all get out. And hopefully it will be good.
God, I can only imagine some of the places those writers would go. So I hope they don't.
Remember the terrible promo last summer with Finn talking about Irish folklore, and they had like the little pan flute music playing and the map of Ireland.
Yeah, yeah. That's I could see them having Bray in like some fire pit, like wanting to, rise the demon or raise the demon or something like that.
I'm sure it'll be as compelling as when the Wyatt family stole the bodies of Kane and the Undertaker, and then they showed up and they were like, "Oh, everything's normal. What are you guys looking at?"
Yeah.
Oh, creative is really terrible. It's really, really terrible. The one thing I thought that went through my head when we saw the Miz and Bray kind of exchange those glances, so I was like, oh, but the WWE doesn't have the balls to do this. But it's like if they made some play, like the Miz was going to follow Bray, like the way some stars get really into Scientology or get like a guru that like runs their life. And I was like, that is a storyline that I would love to see, that alignment in that faction.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that with Miz and Bray, but
oh, come on, it'd be great. Like Bray's like teaching the Miz like how to live like on a higher spiritual level. Like
I could almost see the Miz do. Oh, you know what? They almost did do that with the Miz and Neville. Remember where they were starting to do? He was teaching him how to be a star, and they dropped that after a couple of weeks.
Oh, the Miz and that's the thing. The Miz has had some oddball storylines and aspects and shades of his gimmick. So I don't know. But the Miz and Bray, I mean, because that's kind of a weird, even to have them intersect is like so different.
Yeah.
Like the WWE, it's, what it reminds me of a lot? It's that same feeling that like Street Fighter 2 had, or like Mortal Kombat. It's like this idea, it's like this fighting tournament where people from all walks of life and all different vocations and parts of the world come together to prove who's the best. But it's really nuts when you think about it, that the Miz in kayfabe is supposed to be this A-list star. Bray is like this cult leader. I mean, it's absurd when you actually try and rationalize how all these things coexist.
Yeah, because the worlds don't always coincide. Like 1 minute they're in the real world, and the next minute, there's maggots on the ring, and people being buried and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think they just never really bother with the heavy lifting of it. So all in all, your thoughts, your sort of final thoughts on tonight and the state of Monday Night Raw.
Man, I think it's going to be a long summer. There's just not much interesting that I'm seeing. You know, I think Bray and Finn could be, and so I'm gonna wait on that. But everything else, it just feels like they're running in place.
Yeah, and not even
What's
that?
Well, even when you had the superstar shakeup and things have fallen to this point where it already feels stale in just a few weeks.
Yeah, because the main event tonight had the three guys they brought from SmackDown all in the same segment on Raw.
Right. Yeah.
It's not a shakeup if it's more a transplant, you know?
Right.
It just doesn't work. So we'll see how SmackDown is tomorrow night.
All right. Well,
the bar's pretty low. So let's talk about some of
the
others.
Yeah. So let's move on to the other stuff with with Braun's injury. I wonder what they do with Roman for the next 8 weeks.
I don't know. I mean, who do they pair him with or put him with? I mean, if the idea is they're building towards him versus Brock for WrestleMania next year.
Right. I mean, Brock's not coming back till, God, I hate saying it. Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah.
But and who knows? I mean, I'm guessing, you know, if Braun is out 8 weeks, that's almost a great, you know, that pay-per-view. I'm gonna call it Great American Bash. It still has great in it, and it doesn't feel as stupid saying it. But I could see them moving Braun and Brock to SummerSlam, and then doing Roman and Strowman at GBF.
Without having Strowman too. I mean, Strowman has been one of the high points of Raw. Since the brand split last year. I mean, Strowman has just been fantastic, and I don't think they're going to keep him off the air entirely. I think it'll, you know,
it sounds like they will. I mean, it's a legit surgery, so it's not a kayfabe thing.
See, I think they should just do what they did tonight. They should have him come out and do a bunch of one-handed matches, just to assert his dominance on some jobbers.
You know? He needs to recover from a real injury. It's not it's a real thing. So he's out. He's out for 8 weeks after this week. So yeah, well, I mean, with Roman, who else do you got right now that's free, that's high enough that you know they can headline the live events until Braun's back? Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, Samoa Joe, but they're not gonna.
Yeah, he's pegged with Seth.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Someone's pointing out GBF means gay best friend. All right.
Oh, well, there you go.
GBOF.
G-Boff.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's gonna be a long summer. Yeah, we'll see. See what happens.
For Brock to come back.
You know who's got to be feeling great about all this is Batista, having #1 movie in the world right now.
Yeah.
And they don't like his proposed storyline angles. He's fine with that. He's got movie roles lined up for the next couple of years. He's doing great.
I was surprised that he said that he's asked to return to WWE. I don't know how soon that was, just because there is so much writing on him right now, because he's in this movie. I think they're doing a third. Yeah, they are doing it. They're doing a third, and they're doing the Avengers of Infinity War. Yeah, right. And Guardians are in the new Avengers.
So
you're talking about billions of dollars, and granted, and he's a big part of it.
Well, if he's getting, Marvel doesn't pay so well, so he's getting a very small portion of those dollars.
Oh, I bet he's getting more than he was in his WWE run.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, he's having the last laugh.
Yeah, so I wouldn't know when he'd be able to return anyway, because he, filming those movies, he was saying he wants to retire in a year and a half, because his body, and he's talking about retiring from movies too. He seems like he doesn't want to act too much longer, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I listened to the first part of his interview on Talk Is Jericho this week, and he was talking about that he wants to move into producing. But so what's he say later in the interview? He wanted to come back and do a storyline with Triple H.
Yeah. He said he doesn't miss WWE. He's negative and positive at the same time. He did say he does want to. He would like one more run with WWE, but they haven't gotten back to him. He proposed this idea. He said he's reached out to him a couple times and no interest. So, but it would be interesting, because he criticized WWE for making him a babyface last time. So I guess would he be the heel against Triple H? And I guess you could do that.
Yeah.
But why not? I mean, he's a decent enough movie star. It's weird because it's not like he's The Rock, where the average person knows who he is. You'd have to say the guy that plays Drax. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's under a lot of makeup.
Right. Yeah.
In that role. But it is weird though. I mean, look, right now, WWE could use whatever help they can get with the ratings, with giving things a boost. I mean, why not book him in some capacity? But who knows? I mean, he's one of people's favorite parts of the Guardians franchise. So
yeah. And like we said, there's three more of those movies coming, between 2 Avengers and 1 more Guardians. Yeah. And he's in oh God, what is that? The
James Bond.
No, that came out already. The Harrison Ford Blade Runner.
Oh, that's right. He's the new Blade Runner.
Yeah.
It is weird though. Did you watch the new Kickboxer, Vengeance?
No.
Yeah. I didn't watch Bond yet. I think, and I've said this before on Twitter, in the first Guardians movie, I think Batista should have been nominated for an Oscar. I thought that
an Oscar?
Okay, in the first Guardians movie, think about it. He was playing someone that was on, and he got a lot of praise from the autism and Asperger's community, because they were saying, like, here's someone who's very literal. He's portraying this character who's carrying this emotional weight, but at the same time, someone who does not read humor or emotion. I mean, he got a lot of props for that role. And if you look at what he came from and to doing his first major acting role and doing it under all that makeup, no less. I mean, I'm not saying he should have won the Oscar for that year, but I think he should have been nominated. I think he put in a very moving performance.
I thought he was really good. I thought he should have been maybe nominated for an MTV Movie Award.
Yeah, at the very least that.
Yeah, but I didn't think Guardians was. I saw it on a plane, so I need to rewatch it.
Yeah, love the first one. Second one was lacked the surprise of the first one, but it was good.
Yeah,
people are asking if I'm on some, thinking he should get an Oscar. I'm also a person that agrees with Adam Carolla that Matthew Lillard should have probably won the Oscar for the first Scooby-Doo movie, because he took a cartoon character and brought him to life. That's more impressive than playing someone who actually lived.
And you watch all the WWE Studios movies, so
I do watch the WWE Studios films. I've got range. I'm a rangy individual. Yeah. Right now I'm binging like a gritty French crime drama with subtitles currently. So it's like I'm all over the place with what I like to watch. So let's talk about what happened with Emma. So Emma's legit injured on the European tour.
Yeah, so we don't know how bad it is, but you talk about your shitty timing. Oh, it's a crappy timing. Sorry, guys.
Yes.
But it just feels like it's almost funny how sad it is. You know what I mean? Like they build her up, then she's off of TV again, and then she's just now getting back, and it just sucks for her. I feel really bad for her.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully it's nothing too serious though. But apparently she couldn't lift her shoulder up to kick out of the count. So
oh wow.
Yeah. So like the match ended abruptly that she was in. So doesn't sound good, but you never know. There are some times where you get those stingers or those weird flash injuries that heal pretty quick.
Yeah, no, this is really unfortunate for her after all that.
And Ember Moon, yes, she's got a shoulder injury too. So, man, a lot of injuries right now. It's kind of you have those waves where it seems like things are going well for a while, no one's getting hurt, and then boom, like all of a sudden there's just all these injuries you hear about. Yeah.
As if things weren't tough enough for the WWE as is.
Yeah.
Now it's just going to get worse.
All right. We don't have anything else?
No, I think that's it.
So should we get some of these questions since we got a little time?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
All right, guys. Hashtag Wrestling Inc. Let's see here. How do you feel about Titus O'Neil tweeting a picture of Roman and Braun all happy sightseeing? Do you agree this was a major faux pas on his end? And it's one thing to break kayfabe, but that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Hopefully it's weird because they do that all the time. So it's like, where does it stop? You'll see like Charlotte hanging out with, someone backstage. And but yeah, that was a bad one. And yeah, there was no Titus tonight on Raw, so or Apollo. And Titus is getting sued.
Oh yeah, I saw that because it swerved.
Yeah. So
I feel like they realize all of the problems that show presented, because in season 1 the wrestlers really didn't like having the jokes played on them, and season 2 I guess there were some issues. So yeah, probably not the best idea for a series.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure more will come out soon. Do you think Adam Cole would get over in WWE NXT? He'll get over huge in NXT.
Oh yeah.
Would that carry over? It would initially. We're looking at, if you can't maintain your momentum, if you're given the wrong character or the wrong promos, then you're screwed. But I can't see them screwing up Adam Cole. He's just too good and so good on the mic. I see him doing well.
So who's going to win Money in the Bank this year? Jack O'Bean and a lot of other people are wondering who we think is going to get it. The SmackDown pay-per-view Money in the Bank.
SmackDown. Gosh, everything's so topsy-turvy there with, Jinder and Breezango. That because Jinder, that would have been like, if you're building someone up, that would have been a way to do it, is you give him some steam for a couple months, then have him win Money in the Bank. I don't know. I mean, I always think you should go with a heel, because cashing in Money in the Bank is kind of a heelish thing to do. And it should be someone that hasn't been world champ yet, because it should be like a start of a push. Mm-hmm. So who does that leave?
I agree with the chat saying Corbin.
Yeah, Corbin would be good.
I'd like it to be Sammy. I don't think it'll be Sammy, but I think Corbin is likely. They got to put the belt on him at some point. He's the most natural face in the entire company.
Yeah, I don't know.
It makes me wonder, like, were the NXT writers like the only people that saw that? Because it's weird to think now that Sami Zayn was like a beloved NXT champion the way that they write him on the main roster.
Yeah.
Even Neville as a heel is finally getting some championship, now has a belt again.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that. I like Sammy, but I don't see him as a top guy. But we'll have to agree to disagree. Drew McIntyre, do you see Jinder, McIntyre, and Slater Rhino all holding gold by the end of 2017? I see McIntyre winning the NXT title whenever Bobby Roode's ready to come to the main roster, but I don't see Slater or Rhino. Jinder, maybe. I could see them doing a quick run with Jinder just to get the belt to AJ.
That'd be good.
But I don't see him being champion at the end of the year.
Man, if Jinder wins in Chicago, like that, I mean, this pay-per-view could be just bonkers, right? I mean, it's like if Breezango goes over, if Jinder wins, like, I don't know what that means for SmackDown week in and week out, but
yeah, I mean, we got a May pay-per-view for SmackDown. Yeah. And then Extreme Rules is, so that's it for this month, right? Just Backlash. And then you got Extreme Rules and Great Balls of Fire.
No, Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, I
believe, is after that. So Extreme Rules is June 4th. Okay. June 18th, 2 weeks later. So yeah, that's because Great Balls of Fire is in July.
So we still got 3 SmackDown pay-per-views to go before SummerSlam. So we'll have to see who they've got ready. I mean, you could throw AJ, Kevin Owens in the world title picture at any time. Definitely. Obviously, they want to eventually push Corbin to that main event level, but I think this summer would be too soon. So yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see what they have in mind for SummerSlam. I mean, last year it was only Dolph versus Dean, so it's not like they had something huge for the world title match. People are asking about Mike Bennett. I haven't heard anyone say that they were backstage, even though that's been the story.
Yeah,
that Mike Bennett and Maria have been there. So, but yeah, apparently there's supposedly coming in. So, I mean, it makes, I'm surprised that they go directly to SmackDown as opposed to NXT first, because Mike Bennett's never been with WWE. So.
Yet amidst all this, though, everything we're talking about, all the problems, challenges, this idea stuff we're hearing, stuff not being delivered on, the earnings call happened the other day.
Yeah.
Business is still pretty good. WWE.
Well, the profit was really low. It was like under $1 million. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but network numbers are pretty good. The ratings aren't. You look at the year-to-year decline, but money-wise, as far as overall revenue, there's some lawsuit that was in there that took out a decent chunk of their profit. So, yeah, I mean, if I get it in front of me, we could talk about it more on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Well,
someone's asking about Maria on Total Divas. I could absolutely see that.
Totally.
Although watching the promos, I've never seen an episode of Total Divas, but watching the promos tonight, because I know a lot of non-wrestling fans watch that show. How do wrestling fans watch that show when it's like all this stuff happened last summer? What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I watched Total Divas early on just because I thought I was interested to see how they portrayed the backstage stuff, like if it seemed hokey or if it seemed like they were trying to be realistic. Yeah. But it is kind of interesting because some of the stuff, granted, most of it is BS, but they do have some elements when someone legit gets injured or something that, they work that into the show. And like the Eva Marie suspension, that was a legit thing. And that's in the show. So you get to see like some of the backstage reaction. And I'm sure a lot of that is genuine. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't watched it in years, but I kind of was interested to see how they handled Alberto Del Rio and Paige the last season or two, but not enough to watch it. Yeah.
One day. I keep saying at some point I'm going to give it a try, but which other good stuff on TV.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, man. So we'll be back here on Wednesday at 12 noon to talk about SmackDown Live for this week. And until next time, folks, I'm Glenn Rubenstein. We'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.